Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to a great episode of Real Talk with Joy. I am your host, Joy Mbong. We're recording live from Omega Studios here in Atlanta, Georgia. And here with me is no one else than a great, prolific author. She's a motivational speaker, an occupational therapist also, career-wise. And her name is no one else besides Miss Isioma Oleleh. Miss Isioma, thank you so very much for joining us today in the studio today. And I'm really glad, and I know we're going to have like a great show, which based on just the information I got, I grasped about you being a great speaker, an author. I'm like, you have a lot going on with you, and also an occupational therapist also. I'm like, wow, that's like a great formation there. But
Thank you.
so I did, luckily for me, I was able to like grab hold of, a couple of your books. So we're going to be talking more about that. But today you chose to talk more about greatness. And we have like a new copy of a book that's coming out. It's going to be talking about purpose, your map to greatness. Now, if you would just kind of let us know a little bit about yourself, could you just tell us just a bit about yourself career-wise and what really got you in this new journey of being an author?
Well, you have described me, but I'm just going to go into more detail about who I am. Okay. So I am a speaker as well as I'm an author. I have a master's in occupational therapy. Great. And, occupational therapy, I do right now work in physical rehabilitation. I work with broken bones and create treatment plans to kind of help people get back to their daily activities.
Oh, that's
Part
cool.
of what I do is I get to talk to my patients and see how they're doing and get to see different things about them and see what's important to them, and I use that to create treatment plans for my patients.
Okay,
so I am a speaker. I go out and talk to people about purpose and greatness. That's the message that I believe that God has given me to empower my generation. Right now, I have a program called Greatness, called Passion, Purpose, and Power. And all of this ties in from the book that I wrote, Purpose, Your Map to Greatness, which I am actually coming out with another edition, international edition, that also has a workbook. I am very passionate about purpose because when I see a tablet, I know that a tablet is a mini computer. And so with this tablet, I can do different things with it. That's the way our lives are. God has wired us on this earth for a particular reason and for a particular purpose. We are created to do something with our lives. And when you discover what you're meant to do and what you're born to do, that is your purpose. And when you are working in that purpose, you realize there's nothing you cannot accomplish. But I believe that purpose is actually strategically mapped out into on a journey to greatness. So that's what I wrote about in my book, Purpose, Your Map to Greatness.
Okay, great.
And I believe that it's a message that this generation and the generation that's coming up needs to hear, because this is something that is, when we can get this message down, it's going to solve a lot of problems in society. Yeah. So that's why I wrote about the book, and that's why I'm passionate about purpose.
Oh, that's really great, because I believe that's a journey that everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to go. So a lot of people, they have been born and they have probably gotten off track of their purpose, either because of money, purpose, or power, just pursuit of other unachievable things. But once you stay on track with your purpose, there's nothing, life is actually inevitable, that there's something you cannot accomplish in life. But the great thing I found out about this, this journey of yours, the book you're talking about, greatness, power, purpose, and the passion, because you have to be passionate about your purpose per se. You're really targeting towards the youth. I guess it's like a fundamental, like a foundation for them to build themselves up.
Yes.
In order for them to be well, established in the future, and they can have a great roadmap.
Yes.
So if you could tell us a bit about that word greatness to themselves being great.
Okay.
In the world.
Awesome. So great. The word great is to possess an unusual ability.
Yes.
It's also to become large in number, and to become, to have some considerable amount of power, degree of power. So why am I talking about greatness? When I read the Bible, I see that God is a great God.
Yes.
He's a super great God. He's very creative. He created the whole earth. And he says that we are made in his own image and his own likeness. So which means that we are great people. Mm-hmm. God doesn't just do anything and not expect it to be like him. Because, he looked at Adam and Eve and he said, he blessed them. And he said, be fruitful, multiply, subdue. So, man was already created to be great. So when we leave less than our potentials, we are not walking in greatness.
We're dishonoring God.
Dishonoring God.
Okay.
And we're wasting our lives. The case study, for example, is Abraham. Abraham was 75 years old, leaving with his father and his wife. They were living in the same house. And before that, if you read the book of Genesis, everything about Abraham's life was, Terah, his father, told him to go here. go there, go do this, go do that. They were with, he was
He
with
never
him.
ventured out on his own.
He never ventured out on his own. And you see, before that, we never heard anything about what Abraham did. But at the age of 75, God called him and said, Abraham, get thee out of the father's land, out of the father's house, into a land that I will show you. And God called him to a specific assignment, to a specific purpose. And after that, what happened was, we began to hear all these great things that Abraham did, you know, and God told him, I'll make you great. I'll make you a great nation. And today we all talk about, Father Abraham. Talk so, awesome things
nation,
about him, because he stepped into his purpose. But before that, his life was a failure, was an epic failure. When I think about depression, you know what depression is to me? This is my own terms. So, it's my disclaimer.
Okay,
depression for me is a lack of expression. When you don't express the things that are inside of you, they are depressed, they're pressed down. So because of that, what happens is, when you don't realize who you are, when you don't really walk in the fullness of who you are, you become depressed. Everything is pressed down, and you are not fulfilling destiny, you are not happy, you are miserable. And you are and really you create more of a problem to the earth than anything else.
Yeah, you're not able to give out. You're not even a blessing. You're not really giving, adding to it.
Yes.
You're just probably just taking there and creating space.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. And you see, I believe that a lot of the problems in society, alcohol, drug abuse, comes from a lack of purpose. When you know what you're born to do, and and you're fully engaged in that assignment, and you're walking in that mandate, you're fully expressing who you are. The gifts on the inside of you is being utilized, and you are using everything. I say something, you are wired for a purpose.
Yeah,
what does it mean to be wired? Yeah. I use that all the time. It's super exciting. You see, when you think of an eagle, you think of how an eagle flies. An eagle is a bird that flies at the highest altitude. It flies really high. But you see, one thing about an eagle is that the eagle has a vision, an acuity that is so precise. The eagle at any altitude could see its prey and come down and get it. And you see, the wings of the eagle is able to fly to great altitudes.
Yeah, and it's set in a certain dimension.
Yes, and awesome. And you see, because of that, the eagle is able to do all these things. So why would God equip an eagle and not equip you?
That's a good question.
That's a question that I want to ask everyone. Why would God equip an eagle to fly at such altitudes and not equip you? We have been wired to do our assignment. Funny enough, I think about my own life and how I got into this, speaking. As a kid, everyone that came to the house had to go through an interview. Awesome, yeah, I did. When I was a kid, I asked so many people questions.
All right.
You came into the house, Auntie, how are you doing? So what did you come to do? I was that kid. But you see, I've been wired for all of this. I was wired. God had put this ability in me. And one of the reasons why I became passionate about purpose was because I really almost became a pharmacist. I almost went to pharmacy school.
Seriously?
Seriously. And that's not me. I worked in a pharmacy for 3 months as a tech, and it was like, hey, who is this? All I was doing was counting medicine, and that almost drove me crazy.
Because that wasn't the purpose, and that's just not where
I was far away, very far away from where I was going. And I began, I realized that was not what I wanted to do. And I thank God that I had the boldness to step away from that. But so many of our kids these days, especially from the African descent, we look at careers, we choose careers. Oh, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. Well, when God has wired so many gifts and abilities on the inside of us, if we discover what we're meant to do and how to do it and how we're going to go about it, our lives will have more meaning. We'll be happy. We'll have joy. We'll be able to.
That's why greatness is birthed forth.
Yes, yes.
And then you're really elaborating a lot, because like a map trail, like you said, it's a map trail to greatness. It starts with, you have to, I would strongly say at least you need to have a passion first.
Yes.
Because one needs to spotlight that passion in you.
Yes.
And then from there, go on track to your purpose, and then you to fuel that purpose with power.
I agree. I agree.
So now I know you've spoken a bit about the purpose, which I can see the whole passion is all over you.
Yes.
But it's really sad, and there's a lot of challenges now with the economy here in the United States, with a lot of, let's say, a lot of foreigners that come from third world countries or other countries besides the United States that come into this melting pot, the land of great opportunity. first thing in your mind is like, oh, how am I going to make money? You know what I'm saying? They now like put your purpose on the side.
Okay.
They're now like chasing after money.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So the smallest, like the career is the first thing, you know, because you're like considering, you're worried about family and prestige and a lot of things. You know, it's just a track record,
Okay.
which I've noticed about a lot of people. They come from home, they come over here, and you know, it's either they're on course or they're not on course.
Okay.
So what would you really advise anyone, you know, like a youth, a young person coming for the first time into this country or just trying to break into the new millennium?
Okay,
How
awesome.
would they really position themselves to be on track with their purpose without having to diverse or digress and get into a different, you know, occupation based on money or power, just whatever it is, just like an everyday living,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, I decided to actually pull up this slide too while
Yeah.
we talk about that. So yes, money is important to have money to pay the bills.
Yeah.
That's very important. That's a big
Okay.
portion of it. But you see, another thing I realized is that greatness and purpose is intentional. It is intentional. It's a journey. It doesn't just start like, oh, so this is what I want to do, and today I'm going to walk into my purpose.
But one can get off track.
You can get off track. So that's where I want to get, you know, I really want to answer your question about,
Okay.
you know, the immigrants coming in and, you know, the socioeconomic issues that come along with that. You see, one thing I realized is that many caves were discovered after a passionate, diligent search for the caves. So yes, we do come in and having to pay the bills and pay, you know, all those things. And they're very important because you need to have a roof over your head.
Most definitely.
I totally agree with that. Else you can't think straight.
Yeah.
But you know, in answering the question also, I would say one thing. Along with, you know, doing the things that you're doing in terms of getting a job and providing for yourself,
And
you need to have a
family.
plan.
Yes.
There needs to be a plan on how can I get from here to there. It might mean, you know, not attending some of these parties for a while. So instead of attending the parties, it might mean just spending that time to develop a plan. Okay, I need to put so and so money aside every month because I want to be able to do this.
Yeah.
I need to start where I am right now. I need to draw up a plan, a vision of where I want to go. And that's actually one of the things that I'm very passionate about is vision. You know, so I came up with something called Map Trails to Greatness.
Great.
And so the first thing is identifying your purpose.
Okay.
You know, kind of knowing, you know, the areas that you are in. And I talked a lot about that in my book also. Talking about just areas like the purpose identifiers, things to discover who you are.
Can you
And-
elaborate that a bit?
Yes, I
Okay.
can. So like purpose identifiers, I talked about it in the book. What it does is that it begins to show you your areas that where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
So like your habits, your check, you know, it's like a checklist.
Okay.
The things that you spend your time doing, the things that you volunteer doing. A lot of times we just volunteer and do certain things because we're drawn to them. We need to write those things down. What are those things? Also, we need to also look at our lives, our experiences. What have we gone through?
True.
Like I love Tyler Perry for one thing. He uses experiences. That was his tool to go into his purpose. You know, it was all those experiences that he had, you know,
Yes.
going through those very difficult times that he used to create the
He's
movies that he's
exactly.
doing. So your experiences are not for waste. They are also big. They're significant in your purpose also.
Most definitely.
God wouldn't just allow something to happen to you if there was no reason behind it.
Exactly.
Also. And also, I also put down your habits as well as your burden. What makes you mad?
Well, you know what? You can
Yes.
make some money from being mad.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
can make some money
It's
from being mad. I
actually
will
true.
say so.
What makes you mad? What really concerns you? What gives you joy? What makes you
Exactly.
excited?
Because if
What
you're
makes-
mad about something, you can look at the positive. You can pull
Yes.
out the positive
Yes.
and do something about it. Because you can't
Yes.
just be mad without doing anything.
I agree.
If you're mad
I
about how
agree.
being very filthy, then you need to do something by
Yes,
cleaning it up.
I agree with
So
that.
if you're mad about people that have lack of, you know, sincerity or honesty or something, then you know, straighten them out.
I agree.
So-
And that could be indicators of your purpose also.
Yeah.
Also, what problems are you seeing in society? Because, you know,
Exactly.
that's another thing. Like, you think everybody is seeing the issues you're seeing. No, it's not true.
No.
Like the eagle has the acuity to see its prey, to see how to come down and get what it wants. Just the same way with us. We have the acuity to see the things that are significant in our lives. So those are the purpose identifier. I really elaborate that, especially in the new edition of the new book.
Great.
So passion. What makes you excited? For me, just talking to me, you know I'm very passionate about this. I'm so excited. I
Okay.
feel like the whole of my being is being engaged when I begin to talk about this.
That's great.
Passion, what excites you? And you need to have passion to fulfill your purpose. Because without passion, you're going to, and you know, you don't just walk into your purpose. It's a journey, like I said earlier.
Yes.
So you're going to, you know, encounter a lot of obstacles. Could be financial, could be time constraint, could be even people that feel like you don't, I don't know why you're doing what you're doing.
Negative.
Yes, but
people.
you need to have passion to push on to where you need to go. That passion is what actually propels you to keep going even when you encounter an obstacle.
Exactly.
And what is power? Power is the ability to do work. I got that term it's a physics term. Power is the ability to do work. Power, you need power to pursue purpose.
Yeah.
And power, what is work? Work is something that needs to be done. We are God's workmanship created in Him to do the good works which He had predestined for us. So to do work, you need power. And as a child of God, He says that as many that are led by God, they are the sons of God.
Yeah.
And as many that believe, He gave them the power to become children of God. And as a child of God, you are empowered. You have the blessing. But you see, the blessing is going to remain dormant
if you don't put it
if you don't use it.
Very true.
You are already blessed. You are blessed. God has given you so much. That's something I really want to empower and tell the audience today. You are empowered with great skills, great abilities, great passion, great things. Your money you're looking for, it's right in you. It's in you.
It's just about you taking that time to really find yourself.
Yes.
Think about what you could do for yourself.
Yes.
And also how to just bring out that dominant gift thing
I
or
agree.
the talent that is
agree.
Within you.
Yes.
But you could just go ahead and proceed. You said
Okay.
power. You talked about passion and well, I love that when you talked about greatness. Go ahead, explain.
So
how did you get
this
that?
is the frame of reference that I'm using for the program, and this is what I really expanded on a lot in the book. So I talked about greatness, and so greatness, like we said earlier, greatness is a journey. Greatness is progressive. Greatness is intentional and is strategic. You don't walk into great places just by chance.
No, you don't.
Yes, and so I came up with a frame of reference. The first one is called, I took out the word great and I made an acronym off of it. So growth. You must grow in your purpose.
Yes.
So if you were called to become a therapist, for example, I must continually keep reading.
Exactly.
I need to read.
There
you go. Yes.
So all the laws, the rules, regulations.
You need to continue to grow. You need to grow.
Yourself.
I agree. Grow professionally. Grow personally.
Yes.
Could be time management. Could be reducing your hours of sleep or whatever you need to do. You need to grow as a person. It's intentional, and you need to grow personally because you're going to encounter a lot of challenges.
No, definitely.
Yes. That comes really to test to see if you're really interested in what you're doing.
Well,
but so growth really is intentional. Reasons. You need to understand the reason why you're doing what you're doing. With a strong reason comes a lot of passion, and you're empowered when you have the strong reason. Energy. You need to have energy. So growth. Growth is you have to grow as a person, professionally and otherwise. Personally, you need to grow to accomplish your purpose. So like you need to grow in personally, like time management, sleep time, chit-chatting, phone time. You need to grow with that.
There has to be a lot of discipline.
There has to be a lot of discipline. Like we said earlier, greatness is intentional. Greatness is progressive. Greatness is a journey. You just don't happen to walk into greatness. You have to plan it out.
Very true.
So and then you have to read. You have to grow. You have to grow in knowledge. There's a verse that I like in the Bible. It says, if the axe is dull, it will take more energy to break down or to cut down a tree.
Very true.
But skill and wisdom will make the job easier. So we need to grow personally, like professionally. You need to read more books, acquire more knowledge. What I started doing when I realized it's something I'm passionate about, I read a book a month. Sometimes I do 2 a month. It's just depending on the time. So I'm trying to do that because I need to learn a lot of things. I need to grow to become effective in my purpose. Because I just can't walk into places and questions are being asked and I don't know. It's not really good.
No, exactly.
So I need to
position yourself right.
Yes,
exactly.
And I had to cut down a lot of sleep time too and chit-chat time. So, those are the things that I had to do. So reasons, you need to identify the strong reasons why you're doing what you're doing. It's important to identify those reasons. Energy, you need to be in contact with your Creator. Energy is you need to have an intimate relationship with Christ. It's just like taking the television. If you take the plug out of the wall, it's not going to work. There's no connection.
At all.
And maybe you might have a little bit of static energy for a few minutes, but that's it.
No, that's very true.
Yes, that's it. You might not get anything out of it. You need to be plugged into your Creator. You need to have that intimate relationship to become an effective tool in God's hands. Because if you are His workmanship, created in him to do the good works which he had already predestined for you, which means that you need to be in contact with the person that made you. It's very important. Spend time in prayer, worship, listen. Meditation is a big tool. A lot of history makers, people that have made great history, they meditate a lot. They spend time away from everything else and spend time meditating on a particular thing, because when you do meditate, you hear the voice of God clearer.
It opens you up.
It opens you up. And then things begin to come to your mind. Yeah. But if you're so busy and so congested and
you're not able to reflect.
Yes, you can't really reflect. And you also need to get feedback too on how you're doing. Exactly. That's also important. You need to acquire the right people on your journey. Yes. You can't have the wrong people on the boat with you.
Most definitely. And it's not just everyone that has to be
not everyone.
On board with you.
Yes. You need to identify what you're looking for and then acquire the right help that you need.
Exactly.
Treasures. What are you been gifted with? Are you a talker? Are you a diligent seeker? Those accounting people, I love you guys, but I couldn't do your job.
I know. Oh my God, they are so thorough.
Yeah, I mean, I never fire me. But seriously, so I mean, those things are gifts, abilities, and they are indicators of your purpose. Yeah. The treasures that you have been given, you have gifts, you have talents, you have abilities. Those are things that are inside of you. You can't, no one can take that away from you. It's just who you are. Like I was saying earlier, when I was a kid, I was asking everybody questions at the age of 3.
Don't tell me that's what you do when you go on a date.
There you go.
Certainly you will scare all the men away. You're like, no, I don't think so.
But you need to ask questions.
No, you need to ask questions, but it's a date and not an interview.
Well, we're not talking about dates here. We're talking about people.
I'm just saying because like you're like interviewing almost everybody.
Well, you know, when I was little, I just loved to to talk to people. I have a genuine concern to know how you know they're doing, and you know,
it's a growing process. But please don't tell me you do that on dates.
Oh no, I'm not doing that on dates.
Okay, so we too healthy.
But you know, so like your treasures are the things that are inside of you. Okay. They are already in you. Okay. You know, so that's what made me ask people all those questions, because I really genuinely want to see people succeed. Yeah. So right from when I was a kid, I was, hey, mommy's not home. What do you plan to do? Can you come back later? That's what I was doing as a kid. But even now, I still see myself doing, like if I see a problem or something, I'm just quickly react and try to see what I can do about it. So we've been wired with different things, different abilities. You know, I have 3 other siblings, and boy, we're all different. But when we see it, and I see the career paths that we all chose, it's clear that, man, our personalities are just perfect for what we have.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but you know, we need to identify those treasures that are in us, the things that, you know, God has given us that make us who we are. Yeah. So, I mean, that's very important, you know, to identify, you know, purpose. So we talked about
and a part of your book, I noticed is like top of the mountain. You know, you had like a few little inscripts. You know, you talked about like solution providers. You know, the wise men and builders. So those are like trends, or that's like a ladder where one can really find themselves if they're trying to get, you know, stepping up stages to get to the point of greatness. Okay. Right?
I can talk about that. Yeah, so we talked about map trails and top of the mountain. So that came from a verse, Isaiah 2, verse 2, that says that in the last days, the Lord's house will be positioned at the top of the mountain, and people would come to God's house looking for solutions. So the top of the mountain here is where God's house is going to be positioned in the last days. So the world, the Christians, are the people that are going to have these answers. They're going to have they're going to be the people that God is going to give the wisdom to solve problems. That, for me, that's one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. For me, that is the verse, Isaiah 2, verse 2, that's pushing me to do this. Because we have to be positioned to answer questions. We have to be positioned to bring solution to areas of the world that's going to be chaotic. Because it will happen. In fact, it's already happening right now. We see systems crumbling. So we need people with not just the book knowledge, but with divine wisdom to solve problems. Yes. And this is when you identify your purpose, you become a tool in the hands of God to, you know, for this top of the mountain.
The whole package. And that's really great, because God, it's not just everyone that has such great giftings in them. It's certain people that are built, they're meant to be, you know, restorers, you know, to help to mend the broken heart, you know, to give you like the right ideas and the right counsel at a time. It's not everyone that has that knowledge or that ability to be a counselor. You know, and I know this is really, really great for, you know, what you're doing And based on what I found out, is like you have like a youth program coming up. You've been doing a lot of youth conferences all around.
I've been doing youth programs now. So I did start a program called Greatness, youth groups, and we do a program where people identify their purpose. We do purpose identifiers, things to kind of be kind of clarify what's on the inside of them. And I really believe in getting those kids when you're young.
Exactly.
Because if you can get them where they're young, you can mold their minds to where they really begin to understand what's on the inside of them. So like I go around and then we do identify the purpose and then passion. So what am I passionate about, and how can I redirect my passion to just have a lot of energy?
Exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah, a lot of it. So we need to direct that energy into purposeful things.
Exactly.
Because if we can get this when they're young, they're going to be great tools in the hands of God to do great things.
Yeah, great leaders too.
Yes, great
from
leaders.
That. Exactly.
And power is the ability to do work. So we're going to teach different strategies on power. Both, prayer gives you great power. One of the things that we try to do with the youth program is to, we talked about greatness being a journey. So there has to be a strategy to get to that journey.
Yes.
So one of the things that I've been doing with the youth programs is I talk about vision. Vision is the ability to see the end of a thing before it happens. I always say that vision is the ability to see the house even before you lay the first brick down. But you see, one thing that I realize is that vision is not only the ability to see the future. What do you do with the future? That's the mission.
It's the
so
process.
vision is the ability to see the future. Mission is how you impact the future. Your strategy is your ladder between your vision and your mission. So one of the things that I do with the youth is that I talk about the vision. I try to get them to envision, what do you see yourself doing? If you haven't seen it, begin to dream.
Yes.
And write it down on paper. The last program that I did, I took a bunch of journals. I had about 30 journals, and I gave it to every youth there. And I called it a vision journal. Begin to journal down what you see. If you're having dreams about specific things, you need to write it down. You need to write down what you want to become. If you don't know yet, begin to pray about it. And then your mission is how you're going to affect the future. And the strategy is the ladder between the vision and the mission. Because mission is actually how you impact the future. Vision is how you see it. Strategy is the ladder between the two of them. And then you have to have goals. You have to break down the mission and the vision into goals. Goals with a time frame of when you want to accomplish it, how you want to accomplish it, what you want to accomplish.
It's a process,
Greatness is a journey. It is intentional, it's progressive. I've said that all, throughout the whole,
it's intentional,
I have said that.
And it's highly progressive.
Yes, but I really want to hammer on that. Greatness is actually a journey. Greatness is something that is strategic. It's progressive and it's intentional. Greatness, you don't just walk into greatness. It has to be mapped out. All right, so that's what I really,
that's really, really important. And now what would you say, now how would you probably apply the same synopsis from, this journey of greatness, passion, purpose, to like a single parent or even like a married couple?
Okay.
That's probably like lost their foundation, or lost their sanity, because I'm not married, but God, oh my God, I don't know what, some married women, they just think, oh, it's over already when they have kids and their husbands have been taken care of. They don't really want to progress with other parts of your life. What would you really say? I know you're coming from a different perspective, but we would want to know.
Okay.
As a single parent, what would you say?
Awesome. So this applies to every facet of life. Married, single, grandparents. My mom always said something, the day you wake up is your morning. So at any point in time, you can begin this journey of purpose. Abraham was called into his purpose at 75.
That was deep.
It was an old man, but you see all the things that he accomplished after. So yes, even as a single parent, yes, you now have this child. But remember, we say greatness is intentional. Greatness is a journey. It's progressive. So you can still map it out. Okay, yes, this kid, I'm going to have, when we have to kind of watch this kid closely for maybe like 10 years, and then, they're going to have a little bit more freedom and I can do all those things. Map it out. So what do I need to do in this 10 years? Do I need to read more books? Do I need to start volunteering? What do I need to do? Do I need to find areas of people that I can actually work with? And if you're planning for 10 years, trust me, once that 11th year comes, you're going to be over-prepared for that journey. And then it's going to be time to roll in there and step out. And I believe one thing, God blesses your works of your hands. He says, that's why he says commit your plans to him.
Him.
But if you don't have any plans, there's nothing to bless.
Yeah, exactly.
We pray so much and there's no action because we are not mapping out where we want to go. It's like if your vision is single, if you're seeing one thing, the more you begin to see one thing, the more you begin to see all aspects of that single thing. But if you are, if you're not really looking or even thinking of, okay, can I really do anything? Is anything really in me? Then you become depressed.
Yeah,
but if you begin to focus on what has God actually put in me, and you begin to pray about it, beginning to think, meditate on what am I wired with? I believe in writing. I have more than 20 journals. I write a lot. I've been journaling since I was 16.
It's really important. You need to write it down.
Yes.
Have a vision clearly, you need to write it down. So
Yes.
at least you're able to go back and keep expanding on that, and that way you're able to see like a bigger picture.
Yes.
And know when to, dot your I's, cross your T's,
Yes.
and how to edit whatever you have in process. And that's really, really a great, I really love this great journey, the foundation of what you have, the substance. When you have a book, it's really the book. Audience out there, it's like we're talking about purpose, your map to success. Everyone's life needs to be great. Everyone has greatness embedded in them. So you need to have a purpose, a plan, a vision. It needs to work. Greatness is not just something you just wake up one day and just snap your finger and get it. It's a progressive journey. It's a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of determination, prayerfully go about it, and and then you don't need to even walk into your greatness by being enviable of someone else's destiny. Your destiny, my destiny is completely different, two different entities. But you need to work in yours and let God, show you the path and bring out the best in you. But at this point on this note, we're almost like, wrapping up. I don't know what in final notes you have to say to the audience, for booking purpose, if they have anything, definitely, because I know a lot of people want to bring you in their shows or to have you speak at different conference to youths and even the adults. So what would you say, booking purpose, and then just final notes throughout the show?
Okay, awesome. Well, so you can find out more about me on my website. The website is purposemaptogreatness.com. Purpose Map to Greatness. Or you can shoot me an email, Isioleleh, ISIOLELEH@gmail.com. But you can actually contact me. I have a couple of forms out there you can fill out to contact me on the website if you need to get a hold of me. I would love for you to get a hold of me.
And you're also on all the social medias like Facebook, Twitter?
I am on Twitter.
Okay, you're on Twitter.
I am on my book also, Purpose Map to Greatness, is on Facebook.
Oh, it is. Okay,
I'm also Instagram. So hey, you can find me in any
a lot of
those
ways
avenues.
You can capture her.
Yes, you can capture
say kidnap her, we capture her.
Yes,
well, that's great.
Yes.
But on a final note, just give something strongly to the audience and just leave them with something wonderful, just for them to really meditate on.
Okay. So purpose is something you must discover. You've been wired for an assignment. God has put all these tools, all this ability in you. Don't die with all that inside of you. You are wired for a reason. Just like the eagle, you've been equipped for an assignment. Discover your purpose. Don't let it die, because God is counting on you to do great things in your generations. The earth says the earth is awaiting the manifestations of sons of God. You are a son of God, and there are things in you. Come out and show them to your world. There is greatness on the inside of you. Stay blessed. Have a good one.
That's awesome, because she's already working in her purpose and her destiny. I'm working in my purpose and my destiny. Disregard the fact that I'm also in the medical field, but we're slightly coming out of that spectrum. But it was really great getting your attention, your audience. You guys have been beautiful and awesome. Really, thank you so much for giving us that time, this moment here in the studios of Omega Studio, and being part of this great show, Real Talk with Joy. But yet again, just stay tuned. We're going to have a great episode again coming up. But at this moment, I just want you to stay in tune, believe in yourself, go out, do your best, be purposeful, and be a blessing in the lives of someone else. Thank you very much. And once again, keep it real. It's Real Talk with Joy, whereby we're dealing with people, real life, real talk. It's real talk.